All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Peering Forum brought to you by PHNOG and the Internet Society. So I'm Willa Ortiz from HGC, and I'm the co-chair of PHNOG. I will be your host this afternoon. So today we will set our eyes on women in technology. So we know that the technology and telecommunications industry is mostly male-dominated, but this afternoon, we shift the spotlight to our women guest speakers and panelists, and we'll have an exciting session later. So meanwhile, I'd like to introduce Naveed Hack. He's the Regional Infrastructure and Connectivity Director of the Internet Society, or ISOC. And of course, later we'll introduce as well Achie, who is a very familiar figure. So go ahead, Naveed. Hi.
Hi, Willa. Thank you so much. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. So, Willa is spot on when she said that the technology sector is a male-dominant sector. And I'm very pleased to join you and very pleased to co-organize this important event together with the Philippine Network Operators Group. I was looking around some statistics and found that through a non-profit organization that works in women in technology area, that 26.7% of the technology sector overall, according to the survey, is being participated by a woman. So while we talk about half of the world population are women, the technology sector represent only 26.17% of them, which is really an alarming figure. And I think it's very important that when we talk about diversity, we discuss about diversity in the technology sector as well. And it's very important that we try to finish this imbalance currently that we have in this sector and bring more women participation and encourage them to be part of the technology market. And I think events like this perhaps would help us to, enable and thrive those kind of environment where we can encourage the women to hear from other women who are already part of the technology sector, and perhaps that would encourage them to, step up and come into this sector. So I think from Internet Society perspective, again, very happy to co-organize this and looking forward to some interesting success stories and discussions. I'll also encourage the participants to please ask questions because that will generate some interactive discussion, and it would really help us to know more about what do you think about women in technology. So with that, back to you, Willa.
All right, thanks, Naveed. So next up, let me call on Achie Atienza. So we know he's a very familiar figure or the pillar in the peering industry. So he's also the chair of Philippine Network Operators Group and Board of Trustees of Internet Society Philippines, or ISOC Philippines. So hi, Achie.
Hi, Willa. Thanks again. Thanks, Naveed, for the support. And I'll share what we have done with ISOC. 2021 was a very collaborative year. Thanks, Naveed, man. Quite busy, actually. So we had like 6 events for the whole 12 months. It's like every other month we have something. Covering workshops, panel sessions, and meeting forums. With this Women in Tech session, capping it for today. So excited to get that going. Thanks again for the support, for everyone, to the participants. Back to you, Willa.
All right, thanks, Achie. All right, so let's start off with our first session for this afternoon. Share about the Philippine peering perspectives. So hi, Achie, welcome again.
Hi, yeah, it's me again. So thanks for that one. Okay. This is more of specific peering perspectives from someone like me. And this will actually give insights and inputs on how we do our setup here. But first slide, as a disclaimer, so the information here or in this presentation are perspectives based on my experience and exposure in the internet community and does not reflect the opinion of my company of other affiliations at Connect. Let's start, just to be sure. Okay, first one, a quick look on our peering landscape. This is really more of a number crunch perspective. Based on the latest stats from APNIC, we have around 628 ACE numbers as of today. And matching that with connectivity to local IX, on the average max number, it's around 68 cents or part of the IX. So coming from that setup, that's basically like 6% of the total ASNs we have that are actually peered or part of an exchange. So the question is that good? Is it not good? I don't want to use the word bad, since this is a perspective. There are other considerations, so it can't be answered good or not good, since other perspectives in place. Some networks have multiple ASNs, some have aggregated networks, some networks are just meant to peer, some are not. But having said that, given the ratio and the benefits we have for peering, this is actually a silver lining for us. This is opportunity to improve, opportunity to interconnect and make our internet in the Philippines better. So speaking of opportunity, this graph may also mean good and bad depending on who is looking. Again, coming from the previous slide, silver lining, most see this as bad. To some extent, you might be placed in a not so good position because of the high utilization, be in a bad place in the organization. But this is actually a good use case for upgrades. Unfortunately, in Philippines per se, we have this thing that you need like solid proof to get something done, specifically for upgrades or interconnection or something related to that. We have to get to this point to get an approval for such upgrades. But again, at least now we are more aware of what's happening about the impact, the improvement of setting such metrics. Moving forward, I think we can have new tools and standards to address this kind of setup. Next is peering is also economics. While one of the benefits of peering is cost savings, it turns out to be otherwise in this scenario. Weighed down by Achie, which is cross connect, IP address, and ASN, etc. So historically here, most of the ISPs didn't have their own IP resource. And the cost of cross connect to do peering per se was not that inviting. Sometimes the cross connect is more expensive than the actual setup itself. So upon assessing that collectively, the cost of arranging peering did not make much sense. And further, it introduced more additional costs since the operators will need to maintain a network or a new network or possibly hire new people or train them, new ones or existing ones. So all in all, if you sum this up, this actually outweighed the benefits of peering. So that was one of the common concerns before. But again, it might be just a matter of justification and timing. If we talk about this probably 10 years ago, this would be the case. But now, given the benefits of peering, I think we can find a way to get the resources needed to establish peering. Next is peering is also geometry. So geometry, we have a triangle. So as example here, equilateral, equally important. Now, for those who actually have the resources needed for peering, there are other considerations as well. Historically, again, we often end up peering with a physical interconnection phase. So it's really more of compliance. Okay, I already peered, naka-peer na ako, and then we stop her there. That defeats actually the purpose of doing the interconnection in the first place if you're not going to do it all the way. So we need, besides physical, we need to do our configuration, and we need to set our policies. And basically, you need to exchange traffic, because without that, then it doesn't make sense. Based on previous experience, we have a lot of those because of some mandates, because of some compliance part. We just do it for the sake of doing it. But now, internet has evolved to be very much a commodity. That's why we use it as a thing that we need to implement.
Gagawin mo ko.
Nay?
Insen mo.
Ada.
Hindi yan.
Hindi kami pwede.
Okay, so I'll continue. And last is actually peering is perspective in a way itself as well. The key word here is awareness. The peering manager role is not standard here in Philippines, or not part of the normal table of organization, because the scope extends to different disciplines. That's why there's really no exact fit. Then normally peering managers globally, even locally, covers interconnection, CDNs, business development, and strategy, optimization, cost, revenue, etc. So from our standard corporate setup, you can't fit in those functions to a single person or a single group. That's why it's a challenge. But now we know maybe it's about time to take action or tweak the organization, or more or less acknowledge that there is such role, or there's a need to have that kind of role. Since most of the peering managers actually just do it because they believe in what they do, this actually didn't stop them from doing the function. I can say that for myself as well. And so, I mean, that's the end of my presentation. I hope it gave significant insights and other perspectives for the peering. There are other topics that we need to discuss, but we have reserved that for more perspectives in our next panel that's coming up next. Thank you.
Thank you, Achie. I will open the floor to anyone who has some questions. Type in the chat box, or any interesting additional inputs from what Achie has shared earlier. So
yeah. I know we're shy.
I know. Let's give them maybe a minute to ask.
I'll probably get some private messages somewhere or somewhere else. Yeah, but that's okay.
Yeah, so we'll post your email, Ach, for any questions later. Okay, so if that is the case, then we can move on to our second session. And I will hand over to our moderator, Shane from APNIC. Hi, Shane.
Hello. Let me just share my screen. All right. So thank you, Willa, Achie, and of course, Naveed. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Women in Tech panel. My name is Shane Hermoso, and I will be moderating. So today's focus is on peering perspectives. And as we all know, and Achie has pointed out on this as well, peering plays an important role, and it's a key aspect in having a better internet. We will explore this concept further with the help of our distinguished guests. So for this panel, we are honored to be joined by 4 amazing women who will share their perspectives on peering from business, engineering, operations, and policy. I'm very excited for this panel. This is the first time for us to gather speakers coming from slightly different backgrounds, but with one common factor. Their work and their advocacies involves peering. Now, since our panelists are coming from different fields of technology, we will see internet and peering from many angles and different points of view. And of course, as we already know, it's been mentioned, but I still want to highlight that they are all empowered women in the internet industry and the technology sector. So, all right, with that, we'll proceed with introducing our panelists. If anyone has any question, please feel free to leave it on the chat and we will entertain those questions. For the time being, we'd like to ask our panelists to please introduce yourselves. Maybe start off with Kate.
Hi. Hi, good
Kate.
afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Achie, and also to the whole organization who organized this peering forum. It's an exciting session wherein women are actually empowered to be part of. So I'm Kate Tampinco-Echavarria, and I'm from PLDT Enterprise.
All right, next we have Queenie.
Hi everyone, my name is Queenie. I'm a lead network engineer from RISE.
We also have Estela.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Sarah Libiran, currently a team lead in Globe. Basically, we handle the IP network of Globe, both serving broadband and enterprise customers.
Awesome. And lastly, Liezel.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you, Ma'am Shane. Thank you, PHNOG and ISOC for organizing this peering forum again. And I am Liezel, so I am the network administrator of Sky. So also handling the peering and all the interconnections. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, ladies. So as you can see, our panelists are very accomplished in their own fields. So we're all pretty keen to get to know them a bit more. So I suppose we can start with a discussion by with this first one. Can you please tell us a little bit about yourselves, your role in peering, and what your day-to-day activity is like? Who wants to answer first? Maybe Liezel,
Okay,
or whoever.
I'll go ahead.
Yep.
Okay, day-to-day role. So I'm actually part of the business team, so particularly on product management. In terms of day-to-day, so it's constant collaboration with colleagues and internal partners, so that that comprises of sales. These are our account managers handling the different peering partners or peering clients. Also, of course, the tech and network, and of course, the back end and support. So it's a constant collaboration with all these cross-functional team members and trying to come up with a solution for peering requirements of enterprise clients.
Thanks, Kate. Liezel?
Okay, so about my role in peering, so being the peering contact for Sky. So basically all the emails sent to our peering at skykable.com. So I entertain that. So coordinate with them to establish peering. Also, aside from working with interconnection, including ordering of cross connect. So like what Sir Achie has mentioned, those extensive role of a peering manager, which is undefined, which the role is undefined. So I do that. So that's a part of my day-to-day activity aside from engineering and planning of the IP core. Thank you.
Right. What about Queenie?
So my job entails setting up a new peering connection, testing it, and then of course putting it into production. Day-to-day activities includes monitoring our peering leaks to make sure that we maintain ample capacity to all our peers. And then it also involves planning and doing maintenance when we need to do one, and as well as evaluating and routing traffic where it should be best routed to, of course, dependent on the quality and performance.
Wow, that's quite a lot. Mrs. Stella?
Yes, hello. Being part of the operations in Globe, our day-to-day activities, or we are 24/7. We maintain the operations and maintenance of Globe Internet course 24/7. Then we also render 24/7 again support, after sales supports for any layer 3 or data services, both domestic and international. Then troubleshooting also involved within the organization, specific to, like for example, interconnection to one team to another, or if we need to extend some NMS. And then we are Sir Achie and our team, when being the peering manager, on the operations side, we handle the activation of the caches, and then upgrades facing different peering. So we support Sir Achie also on the link turnout of facing caches and peering, both domestic and international.
Wow, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty varied, right? Some are focused on 24/7 operations, interconnection, a bit of monitoring and capacity. Some are more externally facing to potential peering partners and like establishing those connections. So that's really good to know about you guys. So I guess that leads us to our second question. In your capacity, were there any challenges or hindrances in executing your role effectively? Shall we ask Kate for this question? She may have a lot of experiences.
I think challenges will always be there in any aspect, whether it's business, operations, back-end support. And when it comes to peering, it's really a marry of all those functions. So as mentioned by Achie earlier, when you look for a peering manager, you don't really know what's the exact job description of such a person, because there are so many facets and so many roles that they have to play. So specific to my role in business or handling the enterprise clients, I think one of the challenges probably would be time management, mainly because you talk to a wide range of customers, wide range of peering clients. So there's global, there's local. So there are time constraints in terms of time zones. And aside from trying to put those timing together, there are, of course, again, internal coordination meetings with the said different roles that are involved in essentially putting together a peering solution. So again, as I focus on business, I have to make sure that I'm aligned with what network is able to provide, the capacity that we have, if we are able to provide the necessary requirement that the client is looking for. I also have to reach out to back-end support to make sure that everything is put into place, timeline-wise, deadline-wise, etc. So I think time is one of the challenges in specific to my role.
That's true. That's true. Time really is, right? I like when you said challenges will always be there, and it's about marrying these functions. Well, I suppose just as a follow-up, do you think your experience has changed over the years?
Definitely. I joined the telco industry way back 2013. So from starting as a product specialist wherein I was just really focused on pricing structures, on commercial offers, how to support sales, etc. Through the years, it really has expanded my point of view, especially on peering, that more than the commercial offers, more than the pricing structures, there's really that establishment of relationships, of peering connections. So more than pricing, more than the commercials, reaching out to these kinds of customers and being able to establish a peering connection with a lot of various types of customers, whether they are content, they are telco, etc. So that has really opened my eyes to the deeper meaning of peering in terms more than the business side of things.
Wow, very well said. Thank you. Thank you, Kate.
you,
Maybe
Shane.
let's ask Queenie this time around for the same question. Can you maybe let us know if there are any challenges or hindrances that you have with this role, please?
Yeah, certainly. We were affected by a number of route leaks in our early days in one of the peering internet exchange points in the Philippines, despite being a member of Manners and implementing BGP filters within our network, because of course, unfortunately, the internet still relies on trust and all parties, large and small, doing the correct thing, right? So which is why we take security very seriously. And in fact, just last year, we deployed an RPKI validator to protect us from these things and to improve BGP security for our network.
Oh, that's good. That's awesome. So you have issues, you have challenges, but you implemented means, taking security, deploying RPKI validator, things like that. So that's really awesome. I guess we can proceed with the next question here. So would anyone want to answer, how did you equip yourselves to take on your current role? Are there any skills that are necessary, any knowledge that have helped you to do this job? Anyone want to answer first? Is it going to be Kate again?
I think
Yep.
Okay. I think being in the network operations and engineering, so having the rigid or concrete knowledge in routing, particularly BGP. So it is, I think, the primary knowledge that that my role has to know. So, and the next will be your skills in communicating. Of course, they will, it's not, the case is not always they will approach you. There are times that we should approach them. Thank you.
So it's more than just the technical knowledge, the BGP knowledge, but also requires a bit of communication skills on your end, right? How do you plan to improve more on your role? I guess, Liezel, this is a follow-up question for you.
Okay, I think to improve on my role, I should always be open to learnings, because network is changing as how routing is dynamic, everything is dynamic. So our learnings should also go with that change. And I think attending conferences and being active to communities help a lot to improve or be updated on what is the best, what are the best practices, how other network operators do it in their way. So I think it would help every network operator to improve on their role.
Yes, definitely. Attend, be open to learning, attend different conferences and events. That always a plus. What about maybe Kate or Queenie?
For my end, well, probably unlike the other ladies here, I don't really have any technical background to start with. Before I even joined the telco industry, I was really more of the marketing and product management roles. But when I joined the telco industry, that's when, and I was assigned this kind of solutions. So it was really more of a constant mentoring from my senior leaders as well as my network colleagues. So I think especially what Liezel mentioned, communication is very key, and communication allows you to learn a lot. So I joined several meetings. I started off by just taking minutes, etc., and just learning how they talk, all about the BGP, the routing, the IPs, etc. So taking note of all the acronyms. So it started like that, and then flashback to 8 years after, and I think somehow I already know some technical terms already, and knowing the trade of peering. So it's a day-to-day learning experience for me, and constant reading and listening and reaching out to IP experts and peering experts. And similar to forums like this, I would really want to be constantly be updated to learn more.
It's a really good story. Sometimes it starts with just learning what the jargons, what the terminology stand for, right? Queenie, what about you?
Yeah, so this is actually my first job after the university, and it's like in 2015, and like coming out from the university, like knowing nothing, like, and I have to learn it as part of my work since we're a small team. So for me to catch up at least, or at least understand how, like, what my senior is talking about, so I have to learn, and I have to attend a lot of workshops and training.
Right. Kate did mention about mentoring from senior leaders earlier. What about you? Do you have any support system, like, say, a manager or a supervisor that provided you with that kind of mentorship?
Yes, definitely. I am lucky to be working directly with our head of network, who is actually here. Hi, Dylan. And he acts as our mentor. So he constantly gives us internal training sessions about PGP and like what's the best practices, what to do, what not to do. And he also informs us of helpful webinars and workshops. And aside from like just informing us, also he would really encourage us to go and attend by giving us the time and the resources to participate, and then to put into production what we learned. He would like assign us tasks and just check for things that we need to improve on.
Wow, that's very supportive. Yeah, I guess having that support system, as like you and Kate has mentioned, it helps a lot, and sometimes it makes all that difference, right? Okay. Well, moving on to the next one, we're getting to the more, I guess, more difficult, more juicy questions. So I think we, all of us here, having experienced the quality of the internet in the Philippines, we have developed this collective goal and wanted to have better internet connectivity. So based on your perspective, how does peering help, or how does it impact better connectivity? I'll let you digest it for a little bit. Who wants to answer this question? Maybe Liezel, with your technical background, you can give us some insights.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So, with the idea of peering, or with the meaning of peering itself, so it's like connecting directly from one network to another. So it helps operators to have more control on their traffic. Also, it allows the operator to shorten the paths to other networks, going to the other networks, so which is equivalent to lower latency, and it means better experience for their users. So I think with this perspective of peering, so that it's how it's the way that it improves the connectivity. So I think the collective goal for better internet in the Philippines is growing, given the awareness that is being shared or being campaigned by like PHNOG, like ISOC, APNIC actually also. They are sharing a lot of information to other operators to go into peering, to explore peering and experience the benefit of it.
It's so true. That's so true. Well, you do a lot of engagements and you talk to a lot of potential peers. What would you suggest? What do you normally tell them to encourage them to peer?
First, by showing them how much traffic do we have to you, like quantifying or showing them the volume, the traffic we have to you, that they may consider directly peering with us. So that is going through the uplink, maybe going to the uplink, but also with the perspective of the peering in the Philippines, I think peering towards the client, so the enterprise or other cable operators. So by informing them that we can peer, that there is a lot of benefits in peering, and I think one of the way to encourage them is to show that you can get a lot from peering. You can benefit a lot from peering, like what we have shared a while ago, that it has the capacity, it gives you more capacity to control your traffic, to shorten the path, then lower the latency, and it is equivalent to better experience of their users.
Very well said. I guess on a similar capacity with her technical expertise, Estela might also give us answer to this question. I guess I wanted to ask you, are you happy with the current internet landscape in the country? And, how will peering improve this?
Okay. Well, currently, we are still in pandemic, but this pandemic opens very wide opportunities, or especially in the internet, and like, for example, the local interconnections has been augmented, and then the policies are not that strict like before, and the peering policies, what I mean, and then the peering partners got to collaborate more, because especially now, majority of our users are working at home, and then for example, their company, for example, they have a circuit to us, but the users doesn't mean that they use a consumer product like in Globe. So through that interconnections or local peering, we provide our users lower latency. And then on our part, on our end, financial wise, we only upgrade the domestic portion of our network. So the traffic of our users doesn't traverse through international. So that's that's affects also the cost. We only augment the international trunks, not that much compared on the domestic because of the situation today. So actually, all of our telcos has a collective goal right now, especially during this pandemic, that is to provide our users better experience. So regardless, we are of different telco, is we open our interconnections to serve that purpose for our customer.
Very well said. Thank you, Stella. So I got from that, like, obviously, with many users working from their own homes, we want to, of course, provide them with better connectivity, with lower latency, and that can be achieved if we have like more local peering. We want to keep the traffic local as much as possible without having to go through international loops, international trunks, etc. Right? So that's very good. Do you have any other insights related to this, perhaps, Queenie?
For us, I think peering definitely helps achieve lower latency and improve internet performance for our clients mainly, because we are making our goal is to make them happy, especially if you're in operations, engineering side. But more importantly, it gives us just control over where to send traffic to. So peering gives us multiple connections to one network. So we can prefer or de-prefer them dependent on quality and performance. And then with many peers, we have more options, and a lot is within our control. And if you have more control, ultimately it means better performance and, of course, faster resolutions if there are issues within the network.
That's good. That's really good. More peers, more options, more control. I really like what you said there. Well, let's proceed with the next question here. It's very much related to the previous one, so I hope you can give just a little bit more insight on this. How has your understanding of peering changed or evolved from when you were just starting off up to this point? So taking into consideration all the experiences that you have gathered throughout your career. Let's ask perhaps, well, who wants to answer? Estela, Kate, Liezel, who wants to answer this? I'll point someone. Let's start with Stella.
Okay. Well, what Liezel said a while ago, peering is interconnections to other telcos. So, well, it really evolves right now, since aside from the local peering, we also have the international peering, and then both parties, both parties were able to exchange their traffic. Both parties benefits on this interconnection. So, on the Philippine perspective, I guess we are now actually the local peering is much I think what do you call this? The local peering really plays a role on keeping the traffic domestically, and then our users were able to experience a better performance, unlike before, because before we have different policies per telco, but now having the main objective to serve the user, to provide better connection to users, the peerings are now open and now kept on upgrading just to provide more capacity for our customers. Yes, better service, especially for videos and for special for not working from or working at home, the students. So there.
That's very good to hear. That's really very
Yes.
good to hear. More peering, so the policies had to change so that we can, of course, better serve subscribers, better serve folks that are connecting to the internet locally. That's really good to hear. Maybe Kate, you have any insights? I think you mentioned a little bit about this earlier, but can you expand on that a little bit, please?
Okay. So for me, my perspective in terms of the evolution of peering, I think from the plain definition of exchange of traffic, it goes beyond that to looking after customer experience and looking after what's going to bring much improvement to the network. So it's also an evolution of, at least for the Philippines, it's an evolution of peering locally to expounding more outside the Philippines, and it's a big relief, especially to a lot of us subscribers here in the Philippines, because we are really internet users. We are on our phones a lot. Aside from work, we access a lot of content. So getting that value of peering locally with a lot of global partners, a lot of global customers, and being able to get that reach towards our subscribers is equating to a much better user experience in terms of internet. So it's a good evolution for the peering state of the Philippines.
Oh, that's great to hear. I like when you said looking after more of the customer experience, because that's really what we all want. As Queenie said earlier, we want customers to be happy. We want users to be happy, right? Maybe now moving to Liezel, a follow-up question related to this. How has this peering perspective affected the network that you're handling?
Okay, so when I started, I think almost 11 years ago, my understanding of peering was just peering with the transit providers. So that's all. And then eventually I learned about the IX, and then from the IX, we can do bilateral within the IX. And then when the traffic was getting bigger, we move out of the IX and then establish direct peering or the PNI. So that was the evolution for me of peering during the for those years that I am working on my role now. So with that, this perspective affected our network by having, like what I have shared a while ago, that we have more control on our traffic, specifically going to those big content providers, and also increase the traffic, thus of course offering better experience to the users. Also, it became our way also to add to our redundancy and resiliency, especially now that most of those big content providers are hosting their servers locally. So instead of the traffic going outside of the Philippines, like what Ma'am Stella have shared, so we prefer to go to domestic, to local IX. Though now there are some challenges like establishing connection. For now, I think it is faster to establish the connection on the international than domestic. So we have those challenges now. So, but still, this peering, this having the perspective of peering has improved our traffic a lot, especially to those big contents that are serving better experience to the users.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Liezel, for that insight. I think your last point about the challenge is very much related to our next question, which is this. So I'll follow this up quickly. Based on your observations, what is your take on the current Philippine peering ecosystem? Let's start off maybe with Queenie this time around.
I think more networks should peer locally just to keep the traffic domestic, and especially the incumbent telcos, since they have the most customers. And also, as we know that Philippines is divided by islands, we have 7,000 islands, and submarine cables are expensive. So we also need to establish more peering exchange points, not only in Manila, which is the currently happening, but also in other areas like Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao.
I agree with that. I think as a follow-up question, do you think there is still a misunderstanding about peering when you talk about it to, potential peering partners?
Yes, I actually got asked a lot of questions since like peering is not a very popular topic yet. So there are still others who haven't heard of it. Some things that peering works like IP transit. So they would ask us like, we are paired with you. Why can't you connect us to this website? Or like some don't advertise their customer networks because they felt that peering only involves their network and our network, not including the customers. But they should be like involving their customer networks also because it belongs to their networks. And also questions like you are connected to Facebook Cache, but when I type facebook.com, why didn't it go through the peering point? And so like it doesn't work like that. So yeah, we really need more awareness, or like people need to have access to right educational knowledge about peering more.
Okay, that's very true. More awareness is required. I think there's still some misunderstanding whether with regards to providing peering over providing transit as well, as you said. So that's very good to point out, and maybe through PHNOG, through different internet bodies in the Philippines, we can address that. I guess we can also then ask Liezel, do you think there are opportunities to improve this, like with regards to your role? How do you contribute, and how can you contribute to this?
Yes, I think there is a lot of improvement that can happen, just like what Sir Achie had shared a while ago on his slides, that only more than 6% of the AS numbers in the Philippines are peered. So it's as what he called it, is a silver lining, given that there is already the AS number. So that is the very first requirement of peering. You have your own AS number. So I think there is a good opportunity to improve. We just need to let them be informed, be aware that we can peer. Though there are a lot of challenges, like what I have said. The IXPs, I think, based also on the landscape that Sir Achie had shared on IXPs are coming out. So it's not now they have already in Cebu, some in Clark, not only in Manila. But the challenge we have now is connecting to the facility. So holding the traffic, for example, from a small operator to the data center or where the IXP is. So so with that, I think our role is to encourage by letting them know the benefits of peering, because sometimes when two network peers, when they need to establish peering, sometimes the consideration, if it will not be mutual, the benefits will not be mutual. So one network can it will be a challenge to a smaller to the bigger network, because they think, oh, I cannot get anything from them. But this is the small network can get a lot from me. So maybe those conception of peering should be cleared, should be settled when they are arriving.
Magbibis pa kami. Totoo.
Kasi ang sabi ko, parang
Okay. So when they arrange the peering, so of course, being also coming also from a cable internet provider, internet service provider. So there are a lot of cable operators now shifting to offering broadband. So with the community of those cable TV provider, I think we can share a lot of them to connect to IX, to really justify connecting providing infrastructure connecting to those IXs, because they will benefit a lot. So the graph of I think it's a PH Open IX graph was flat. So it is like a chicken and egg. If the smaller networks go to the IX, the big content provider can increase their capacity in there to serve them, or it can be the other way. When the CDN or when the content providers are already there, then it will be attractive for the operators to peer or to connect to the IX.
Totally agree with you there. A follow-up question that I wanted to throw to everyone. Is there any other best practices that we can adapt? Can you think of anything that we should be doing, but we're currently not doing yet, or we don't have much understanding yet?
I think more networks should really be manner certified, so will be good internet citizens, and our networks will be secured.
Agree. Be good internet citizens. Manners is one of the options you can do. There are others as well. Implement all of those best practices. Thank you, Queenie. For the next question, I guess this will be a question appropriate for Queenie, given her name is Queenie. Can you think of any crowning moment or a success story that you're proud of? If you can share that with us, that would be great.
Yeah, so at RISE, is our mission to improve the speed and reliability of internet, and we achieve this by diversity, redundancy, and getting to the best connectivity to content. So every time we get to peer with a CDN directly, we consider it a huge win. So the biggest one is Cloudflare, because they are not in PH Open IX. So and for us to do that, we need to prove to them that those CDNs that we have a lot of traffic, so we are worthy of you. So we have to put in a lot of effort. And as someone who has been with RISE since the beginning, so I've seen firsthand how we've gone from two IP transits to now having multiple peerings to CDNs and other networks, which really significantly improves our performance for our clients, like latency, and gives us more options. So we are not that we are not that when it comes to like failures, for example, we can easily switch off something because we don't need it that much. We have other other paths that we can use.
Awesome. That's really good success story, seeing how your network has grown from the beginning up to now. That's really awesome. Just moving on to the next one, and in the interest of time, we wanted to maybe answer this as quickly as we can. Looking at the next decade, how do you think we can involve the next generation to ensure that there is continuity or evolution of peering in the country? I'll take it, Kate, maybe Queenie and Estela, all of you probably can answer this.
I'll go first. So I think first we need to raise our awareness and provide training opportunities, maybe especially to students, and also for those who are in senior positions who would be like interviewing new applicants. I would like encourage you to hire also junior engineers, even those starting like just right after just graduated from the university. Like for us, it's not we don't just hire seniors. We also make sure that we hire juniors for us to mentor and for us to pay forward. Like what we learned, we also teach them and on what peering is and best practices. It's just paying it forward and so we can also involve the next generation.
Totally agree with that. Hire more junior engineers to be able to mentor them, especially focusing on females. How can you then inspire more girls who might be taking on your current role? So specific to the role that you have now. What about Kate?
Yeah, I'd like to really focus on that idea of women in tech. So in the next generations to come, I think I'm looking at it as the same way we are looking at engineering a few years back. Engineering was really the course itself in college. It was really male dominated, right? I don't want to reveal my age, but at least during my time, it was really male dominated. And then through the years, you can see a lot of female engineers coming into play. So similar to what Queenie said, apart from junior engineers, I think it's also good to be able to empower women engineers, and even to someone like me, marketing person, a business person, or a business graduate, it should not be limited to what your academic background is, because peering is really, again, it's multifaceted. It's not limited to engineering, it's not limited to support, it's not limited to business. So anyone, just like Queenie when she started, anyone would actually be can contribute, as long as you keep an open mind and you learn from your mentors and you constantly challenge yourself to get out of the box and not stay within that stigma that women can only do this. I'm in marketing, I can only do this. So it has to be an open mind, and to the next generation, you should be able to embrace these kinds of exposure. I mean, during my time in college, I had no idea what peering was. So of course, there will be a time when these new graduates, this new generation will be exposed to new terms, new solutions, whether technical or not. So it's very important to keep an open mind, be a strong woman as you can be, and embrace whatever challenge that comes your way, whatever company you get into.
That's really well said. That's awesome. Women power, right? Women empowerment. It's really good. Anyone else? Estela, you want to add anything?
Okay. Based on my experience, actually on that, I got this technical experience on my second job. Honestly, I don't have background in Cisco, zero. So when I was hired there, I'm supposed to be doing documentations, SOP, like that, diagrams. But then what challenged me a lot is to learn more on the technical portion, on the technical part. So I equipped myself attending academy, and then, but all of that are for the basic stuff of networking. But then afterwards, the hands-on training and on the spot day-to-day activities will evolve your knowledge and learnings about the technical aspect of the internet. But so that time I'm only the female. I'm only the woman on that team. So I'm a bit shy to ask boys like that. But then I have a very supportive boss to push me not to be shy, to ask questions, because when I configured wrong, then any wrong configuration will affect the network. So, and basically, that's the lucky part of my journey in work, when I got to join a very supportive team. They shared their knowledge to me, and then they are very supportive in attending trainings, going to academies. They adjusted my schedules like that. So it's just for women out there, it's not just being in the IP world, that's it for boys only. So I think maybe because of at first I'm thinking I cannot do the laying out of cabling like that, but now, and my current job now, they are hiring girls on the colocation sites, and then they do the patching of cables, just like, or the setting up of testers, just like what males do. So I think it's just equality. And for the new graduates, actually, what amazed me is on our company is we even hire new graduates as long as they show us the passion in their work. They are able to communicate, and we seen them very eager. We seen their eagerness to learn. So there's no such thing on our team, especially on our team, whether if you're a fresh grad or female or male, it's basically your manners at work. I mean, that's where I mean the manners of that's our selection for members. It's on the manners, not on the background. Yes, and then the willingness to learn. So
I so agree with that. There are loads of wisdom with what you just shared to us. So thanks for sharing your story. I hope that also inspires our younger audience here, the next gen, so to speak, to pursue career in and maybe in networking, or basically something that involves peering or IP transit and things like that, but basically push forward in what they wanted to achieve as women, and don't be afraid, even though perhaps the field is mostly, guys, but there's always room for women in the field. So that's really good to know about that. So thank you very much, ladies, for your insights. I think at this point, just wanted to ask whether do you have any final words for our audience, our participants, anything that you wanted to tell.
I'll go first.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Well, similar to what my other panelists have mentioned, so it's very important to love learning. So continuously learn every day. Even with our current roles now, it's important to continuously learn and keep an open mind. Always have that self-confidence to pursue things, regardless of limitations that you may have or reservations. Make sure you have that self-confidence and gather the right support system to help you get to your goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Anyone else? Liezel, how about you?
Okay, so thank you, Mao. I think with this, I think let us be encouraged to peer. So the policy, one of the also a factor that is preventing other networks to peer is the policy. But because of policies are policies because they are it's their own network, so it's all there. It's the right is theirs to implement policies, but still let's not be discouraged of that. IXs are there, IXPs are there, which are more open. Then especially for I'm encouraging all those smaller network operators to peer to the IX. You can benefit a lot from them. And of course, the internet is the policy also is somehow affected by they're securing their network. So internet is a shared environment. It's an ecosystem that everyone should be responsible. So the network operator should at least be mindful of their the prefixes there they announce. Every single invalid route that they announce will affect one way or another all the networks, all the nearby networks. So it is our responsibility to make the internet a better place.
I agree. It's all a shared responsibility. Hey, we have an anonymous question from the chat. Let's try to address that. What do you see the next career path of a peering manager? So in your opinion, who is really benefiting IP peering? Can this be like the follow-up question or same question or two separate ones? Either way, does anyone want to answer this? So what will be the next career path of a peering manager? I think some of you are doing this role, right? So based on that, maybe you have any insights on, separate questions. Okay. So the first question first, the next career path of a peering manager.
I think I would like to
Sure.
Question. So I think it's a good career path for a peering manager, given that especially Filipinos, we are used to we have one designation in the company, but behind it is a lot of jobs but comparing it to international companies, that those other tasks are distributed to other other roles. So I think there is a good career path for peering managers, especially now that peering is like blooming. So with Filipinos being especially women, I think they have this capacity or talent to coordinate, to organize, to multitask. So given the extensive role of extensive task of a peering manager that we are performing now, but is not defined as peering manager, I think it is a good career path.
That's true. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Anonymous. Yeah, but yeah, it's true. We don't usually have dedicated peering managers in the Philippines. Usually it's a hodgepodge of many roles put into, the responsibility of a single person. But there is opportunity to have that. And women with their unique capabilities would probably be, really good for that role too. I agree with you, Liezel. There's another question here. Maybe let's answer the other question by Mr. Anonymous a bit later, but focus on this other one first. This is, I think, going to be addressed to both PLDT and Globe. Does peering offerings have to be located inside the data center? And how can we make this more accessible rather than a commercial perspective? Sorry for putting you on the spot, but you mind just giving us a bit more insight on, I guess, peering inside data centers? Is that how it's supposed to be for, I don't know. That has something to do with policies, I suppose. But do you have any comment on this?
Okay, I'll answer that first. Every peering has a point of interconnection, whether domestic or international. Just for example, in Hong Kong, we have this HKIX. So all members of HKIX connects to a single equipment to HKIX network. So that's the same setup here, domestic, on our network. So on our end, we have this data center in MK2. So we have this GIX, Globe Internet Exchange. So the same setup, all of the partners connect to our network in MK2. And then on the commercial part, we cannot avoid that because we need a transport for that interconnection. And then establishing that interconnection is not free. That's for sure. So that's why we can't avoid the commercial portion on that. And then there's also the ports on the router. So we need to consider it also. So other than that, the setup on our end is just similar to other setup on the IX part. So it's normal. It's normal to have a point of interconnection, and then to somehow on the commercial part, there's also a commercial part. So what we can do on our end, we need to expand that interconnection. Like for example, right now, I don't know if Sir Achie already told this, but we are establishing, or actually it's already established, our another interconnection at Cebu. So there's already a standby router then, and then if anyone wants to peer to us, we are ready there in Cebu. So that's what we can do on our end to expand more. And then in Cebu, for example, so there's no need to hold that in Manila for MK2, just connect it on a router in Cebu. So lesser cost for that.
Shane, I'd like to also echo
go
what
ahead.
Estela said. So peering really happens at a certain physical exchange point. So wherever that exchange point is, that network setup is, that is where you meet. So if it's in a data center or in a school or wherever location, it really has to be in that physical location where the exchange points will happen. So, and at the side of commercials, as mentioned by Estela also, how to meet there would entail certain commercial discussions. So if you're not inside the data center, for example, or you're accessing it from a different location, of course, there will be costs involved to meet in that certain exchange. So I think there might be limitations as to where our current internet exchanges are for the peering, but essentially, I think there is a constant effort on making this more available in more locations so that it would be more accessible for those who want to peer.
All right, thanks for answering that. Jong, I hope that answers your question. I think it's worth mentioning here that, like, yes, peering is, we always say that peering is free, but it's settlement-free peering. There are minor costs involved for setting up interconnects, for, you know, a few things like maintenance as well with IX when you connect to the IX, that essentially the traffic exchange is what is like mutually beneficial for both parties when you do peering. So I hope that's clear to everyone here. Let me get back to the other question by Mr. Anonymous. I think this is a very good question. So who's really benefiting IP peering? And it will be nice to close up this discussion by answering this question. Does anyone want to give their insight?
Okay. So I can answer that question. I'd like to think that the one really benefiting the IP peering is our customers, because we as ISPs, like telcos, we're just like the catalyst for our clients to deliver where their packets is going to. And if we peer with each other, it will be easier for us to give them great experience for the improved performance, and essentially internet in their like perspective would be better if all telcos peer with each other. So it's really the customer who's benefiting from all this.
Very well said. Does anyone else have any other insights, or we all agree with that? Yes, all right. Thank you. Thank you very much, ladies. This has been a really, really productive discussion. I know we went a bit over time, but thank you again for sharing your perspectives. We did learn a lot. I hope every participant as well has managed to get something out of this discussion. So with that, thank you, everyone. We're now going to return back to Willa.
Thanks, Shane. That was a very good session. Well said, ladies. So I think Achie wished to add something. Go, Achie.
Wow, thank you. On the spot. Thank you. I think I also want to give some insight on the question, especially the last part, who's benefiting. Yeah, for me, I think the main beneficiary is the internet itself. But we have to be reminded that we are all part of the internet. So it's basically everybody. And some additional insights. So thanks for the inputs. I was also asked a similar question in previous conferences, also in ISO. This peering role, this job is, there's no finish line, basically. Once you improve something, there's always something to check, to do, something that you actually did that is exemplary. Maybe just a basic thing the next day for the users. So you always have to set the bar higher and higher, and it's kind of a double-edged sword in a way. But that's what we signed up for. So it's actually part of the fun. And lastly, maybe what we're trying to do for the internet, I think we need to go and move forward with an internet of conscience, basically, like the responsibility that was mentioned earlier. It's the thing that you don't do actually that affects the internet. It's not what you do, but things that you don't do has an impact on everybody, on everything. That's why it's our responsibility as well to do our part to make it better. Not because that it's part of your job or you like it, because basically we care and we can. And I think that's it. Thank you again. So I'm giving back the floor to Willa. Thanks, Willa.
Well said, Ach. So now we've come to the highlight of the program, which is our group photo. So let's open our cameras.
Let's skip the speakers first, and then we open up for the rest. Let's have a speakers group photo.
All right.
Okay. I think since we did a group photo of the speakers already earlier, let's probably turn on everybody. Yeah, sorry. Okay. Shane, may I also trouble you to do a screen capture for backup purposes. Everybody will understand that. Okay, I'll do the first cue. Hold on. Let's wait for the rest. Turn on the cameras. John, Joanna Marie, Kim, Jess, Bea. Okay, let's do this first. Okay, first take. 1, 2, 3, smile. So we still see the smile, although you're wearing your mask. It's okay, so you can still feel your smile. I'll do a backup shot, and then Shane can do hers as well. Okay, one more. 1, 2. You want a hand gesture, Shane? The girl says this one, so we'll do it. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay. Handing off to Shane for the backup photo. Okay. You want other hand gestures or?
Oh, I already did a couple of backups.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then I'm gonna share screen again for the next part. Hold on. There you go.
All right. So
Willa?
please answer the feedback or this survey. You can do a QR scan. So we will value everyone's feedback, of course, and we wish to do these pocket sessions more often. So it will be a good insight from everyone. So thank you all to those who joined and participated. And of course, our panelists. It was a really good session today. So there. Achie, anything you wish to add to close this pocket session? Or maybe Shane?
Yeah, I'll probably add one more before I put Naveed on the spot later. So this is actually a pilot project with Internet Society and PageNog. So we did this, and Philippines was first to do the Women in Tech session. So based on the concept paper we had with Naveed, we want to echo this with the other economies that ISOC has. So probably another ISOC chapter will do the same. And then eventually it will have a ripple effect globally. And then we will have something like an Women in Tech APAC or Women in Tech Global. That's the plan. So thanks for the participants for making the first pioneer Women in Tech session with ISOC. And if Naveed wants to add anything, yeah, please go ahead.
No, I think Achie, you covered it well. I'm really thrilled and I'm very happy to be part of this session. Excellent discussion, and for me as well, there was so much of learning, from the peering perspective. And when people ask you, and one of the speakers said that for her, peering was like peering with IP transit, and she had no idea about internet exchanges. And so this is excellent. I'm very happy to support this, and looking forward to do more similar events, and perhaps make a kind of a movement around women in technology. I'll just paste this link. This is kind of my inspiration. This is a group of women in technology from Africa. They call themselves FCHICs. So do go to this website, and this is my inspiration. Together with organizations like PHNOG, we should do similar thing in Southeast Asia and perhaps other part of the Asia as well. And maybe we can have Asia checks, or I don't know, we can talk about that later, but that's where we should be heading for. But thank you so much, Achie. Great collaboration, and looking forward to more.
Thanks, David. And with that, I think we close the Peering Forum session. I'll hand it over to our host, Willa.
Yeah, so we hope to see you again next time. We will post the next schedules in the Facebook page of PHNOG and ISOC. So hope you can join as well for the future sessions. So thank you, everyone. Have a good afternoon. Happy weekend.
Thank you.